Well, hello, brokers of Utah Central Association of Realtors. Thank you so much for being the backbone of our association and the face of our business. It is so great to have you here at our virtual broker meeting, and we're excited that you're here. And also, you're welcome. You didn't have to drive to a meeting today. You can be wearing whatever you want. And in our new COVID world, this is how meetings are done. We should save you about an hour of your life today by doing this virtually. So today you're going to hear from 3 different people. We're going to have Craig Wagner helping us know the legal pitfalls that we're seeing throughout the association. We're going to have Johnny Stewart from the Division of Real Estate with some things specific to you as brokers that you might want to take back to your brokerages. And we're going to have Brad Belke, the CEO of Utah Real Estate, to help us understand things that are on the horizon and how you, as owners of Utah Real Estate, via your broker and membership in Utah Central Association of Realtors, can know what's going on. So we're excited to have you join us today. And if you have any questions, let us know. We really appreciate your involvement. Have a great day.
UCAR members and brokers, I am excited to be here and tell you a little bit about the resources available to you. I know that your job is extremely difficult. I get the phone calls from agents, from you, dealing with the situations when you're representing both a buyer and a seller and just going through the real estate transaction. So I want to highlight some of the resources available to you. First resource that the UAR offers would be the legal hotline. I answer probably 40 calls every day dealing with questions from real estate agents, and the vast majority are going to be about the Rep C and addenda and contractual details. And so I want you to take advantage of that, avail yourself of that. Additionally, with the legal hotline, we've been doing legal live trainings on Facebook and providing legal tips on there. Watch those videos with your agents. Ask questions. Let us know what topics are important to you, and we'll cover them. We've had a number of topics from haunted houses to seller's disclosures to repairs and resolutions. We've covered a wide range of topics, and we want to cover those things that are most important to you. So please take advantage of that, and we want to be accessible as possible. The Division of Real Estate has just started a Facebook page, and so you can ask questions on the Division's Facebook page, and you can also tune in. They have I don't want to say legal live, but they are answering Q&A, and you're more than welcome to follow them as well. So a vast variety of resources available to you. I want to just take a couple of minutes to talk a little bit about forms. I know that's a pretty sexy topic, but from my standpoint, it is the greatest value proposition that brokerages offer to their clients. Your understanding of the Rep C and its contractual terms, your understanding of the UAR forms are going to give you not only a competitive advantage, but are going to help you meet your fiduciary duties for your buyers and your sellers. Every real estate agent and brokerage owes specific fiduciary duties to their clients. And the broadest fiduciary duty that I know of is reasonable care and diligence. And this fiduciary duty entails your contractual drafting. Let me give you a couple of examples of some ambiguous language that I've had calls about. One such language was a couple of years ago, where a buyer submitted an offer asking for $5,000 in closing costs. A seller, through their listing agent, countered that and countered it with the language up to $5,000 in actual closing costs. They sound very similar, but the rationale behind this, it was a $280,000 property, was that the buyer isn't going to have $5,000 in closing costs, and writing the language up to actual closing costs will somehow protect the seller. Well, 3 weeks into the transaction, buyer is finding a way to use prepays and interest buy downs, all of these things to eat up the $5,000. Seller, to their chagrin, is upset, thinking that they were only going to have to pay $2,000 or $3,000 in closing costs. And so ultimately the listing agent called me and said, "Craig, what's an actual closing cost?" That's the language I used. My response to this listing agent was to ask a question that I already knew the answer to, was how did you define actual closing costs in your purchase contract? Well, the answer was I didn't define closing costs. So ultimately, my answer to them was, I don't know the difference between an inactual and an actual closing cost. And I wasn't trying to be flippant. But that goes to show that language like this that you think is protecting your clients, if it has dual interpretations, ultimately the agent could be liable, the brokerage could be liable, and certainly the principal broker could be liable for that ambiguous language. So if I can impress upon you, brokers, is the idea that use the UAR forms as much as possible. If you're going to use the blank addendum and draft your own language, make sure that it's unambiguous. Have a different set of eyes look over it to see if there are dual interpretations, because if there are, that's where there can be broker's liability. And as always, feel free to call the legal hotline if you have any questions. I'm more than happy to help.
Hello, UCAR. Today I'd like to share with you 10 tips specific to brokers. The first is found in R162 2F 401C, additional provisions applicable to brokers. Under this rule, you should be establishing policies and procedures that you share with your agents. Also, if you learn of a violation, you should do everything you can to mitigate or prevent any damage. You should also not be participating in these violations, ratifying these violations. If you do these things, the benefit of this rule is you are protected as a broker. So do everything you can to learn this rule, memorize it, put it on your wall to protect yourself as a broker. So if one of your agents violates the law, you will be protected. The second tip is to hold regular training sessions. This goes back to part of the protections you receive in the first tip I shared with you. By holding regular training sessions, you can share your policies and procedures and go over state law that they need to follow. Keep records of who attends these training sessions. If people can't attend, you should be sending them the materials shared in these training sessions. By keeping track of who attends and how this information is disseminated to your agents, this will enable you to provide proof to the division of the training, which will protect you from being in violation for lack of supervision. The third tip I have for you is not required by law, but it is a recommendation from the division, and that is to have a checklist for the documents that should be in a transaction file. There are many times over the years when we've requested a transaction file from an agent and it is clear to the division that there are missing documents. To protect yourself as a broker and your agents, you should create a checklist for documents that should be included in a transaction file. Tip number 4 is to make sure you review the email that you receive as a broker from the division monthly. This email is not required for the division to send, but we do it as a service to brokers. This includes information that is very valuable to brokers. It includes everybody affiliated with your brokerage. It includes the CE hours that each agent has completed. It includes when they expire, and it's color coded for you to easily reference and know who is up for expiration the soonest. And this leads me directly to my next tip number 5, which is before you pay a commission, verify that you have all the documents from the agent and that the agent is affiliated with your brokerage at the time you pay them, or that they were affiliated with your brokerage at the time they earned the commission. This goes directly to tip 4 with that email. Reference this email when paying a commission. Make sure that the agents you're paying commissions to are affiliated with your brokerage. The 6th tip is just to be available to your agents. Too many times we receive phone calls from agents where they're asking a question about state law, and we ask them if they've talked to their broker, and they tell us they can't get a hold of their broker. You should be available to your agent so that they can get their questions answered from you. Not that the division isn't willing to help, but you are responsible for them, and they should be receiving answers from you. Tip 6 is just to be available to your agents. We receive phone calls monthly from sales agents with questions about state law. The first question we ask them is, have you asked your broker? And too often we hear, I can't get a hold of my broker. Please be available to your agents so that they can ask you questions and that they know what your policies and procedures are. The 7th tip is to maintain your records in accordance with R162 2F 401K. I'm not going to go into detail about this, but too many times we see transaction files where records have not been maintained appropriately, either in the transaction file or at the brokerage. So please refer to R162 2F 401K for specific record keeping requirements. The 8th tip is to notify the division when required by law. There are several times when a broker is supposed to notify the division. So for example, if you file for bankruptcy, if you terminate operations, the location of your trust account, if your trust account is out of balance, there's a notice requirement. So be familiar with the times you need to notify the division and don't be out of compliance. The 9th tip is to just check in on your agents from time to time. We had a broker once tell us that they had not heard from an agent in over 2 years. Do you really want an agent affiliated with your brokerage that you haven't heard from in 2 years? What are they doing? And in your name. So check in with your agents from time to time. Make sure you know what they're doing, how they are, and make sure that they are people you really want affiliated with your company. The 10th and final tip may be the most important based on recent cases the division has seen, and this is to reconcile your trust account monthly. This is a requirement by law. And even more important than that is to make sure you have direct access to the bank statements or that you are receiving them directly. We've had more than one case where an unlicensed assistant was receiving the bank statements, creating false bank statements that were given to the broker, who then used them to reconcile the trust account, and in these cases lost hundreds of thousands of dollars. Protect yourself, protect your clients, protect the public, reconcile your trust accounts, and make sure you are receiving the bank statements, that you're not receiving them from somebody else.
Hi, thanks for having me on your broker town hall virtually today. And thanks to Peter Christensen and Stephen Bond for putting this event on, and all of the UCAR staff. It's such a weird world that we're in right now, and to do things virtually and give a talk to a big giant light is a pretty fascinating thing. So I'm here today just to give you a quick update on the multiple listing service. And I thought I would take a different angle on this, and instead of talking about our services and our products, to maybe give you just a little bit of a history and kind of where the MLS industry is going and evolving. And so in the past 5 years, we have gone as a nation from having approximately 1,000 MLSs in the country to, as of I think a few weeks ago, we were approximately at 500 MLSs. So what we're seeing is regionalization and consolidation of data and of MLS entities around the country to offer better data and support to members. We all know that this has been a trend for the past 10 years, is that consumers want all of the data. They want to consume it, they want it for free, they don't believe in boundaries of data. They want their real estate professional to take them to a house and be able to show that house, and they want to be able to find that house online. And because of that consumer push, MLS have gotten bigger. We've been able to reduce costs by the scale of our size, and that has allowed us to offer some great products and services over the years that we would not have been able to do if we were a really small MLS. And so you've seen that in the past few years with the additions of Showing Time and Remind and Cloud CMA and some of the ancillary products we've been able to bring into our market to make your day-to-day life hopefully both easier, more productive, more prosperous, and to give you some leading edge tools over your competitors. What ultimately happens with MLSs is our goal is to have an organized marketplace, right? We want to benefit the agent and the broker, and we want your clients to have the best data and service available. And so when I started here in 2015, we were a 10,000 member MLS. And today, I'm happy to report that we are now approximately 18,000 members. And that is almost 100% growth in 5 years. We span the entire state of Utah. We have a dominant presence in southern Idaho. We have now parts of Nevada and Wyoming coming into the MLS, and we are seeing a natural growth of listings coming in because of the exposure from the website. In 2019, we had approximately 50,000 properties sold across the MLS, which was a record. And we also have about 2.8 million visitors to the website each month. So not per year, each month we have 2.8 million people, with the highest concentration obviously in the state of Utah, but also in Virginia, New York, California, Florida, Idaho. Some interesting data and metrics of who visits our website, the people that are looking to move into the state of Utah. We've also over the past couple years developed an organization that we co-own called MLS Aligned. That's made up of the 5 major MLSs around the country, including us. Those entities represent the Northern Nevada area, Oregon, Northern California, all of Arizona, Wisconsin, and obviously the state of Utah. We plan on growing MLS Aligned by probably 50% in the next year. And that group represents right now more than 200,000 realtors across the country. And what it does is it allows us to partner with like-minded MLSs to build products, services, and provide support that surpass and go beyond the artificial boundaries of the traditional MLS. We kind of say internally that if our neighbors don't want to date us, then we're going to go around them and find someone that will. And so we're not going to let artificial geography stop our members and our consumers from getting the best service they can get. And as a result of our growth and our partnerships and our influence nationally and our very amazing board of directors who push us to get better every single day, it's just really great for me to tell you today that your MLS, the one that you own as a shareholder, is one of the largest MLSs in the country, in the top 25. Our value has skyrocketed in the past 5 years. And if it really wasn't for the investment and foresight of this board many years ago that looked past geographic territories and said, how do we best make the state of Utah for our clients and for the consumers? Without that initial investment and that belief, UtahRealEstate.com would not be here today. And so I thank you for that. And you built that foundation for us to get better and better in the future, make your investment more and more valuable. And hopefully you've seen that in the past 5 years as we bring you more and more tools, more services, try to up the game for our members and give you an edge over any other MLS in the country. So thank you for all of your support. 2020 has been a weird year. 2021 is going to be a great year. We want you to be prosperous. We want you to have everything that you need to succeed. And as always, if you ever need anything at the MLS, please contact me directly. Thank you again for your support. We appreciate it.
Hi, I'm Stacy Douglas. I am the chair for the Affiliate Committee for 2020. Affiliate Committee supports realtor community by providing opportunities, continuing education, sponsoring events, and providing services within our market. We are willing to visit you to help you more personally and professionally within your business. We host multiple events throughout the year, such as the Pancake Breakfast, golf tournament, and help with many others from within the other committees associated with UCAR. We ask you to please take time to get to know these companies. Notice those who help or go out of their way to fulfill your needs. We encourage you to look at those companies you're working with to see if they are members of UCAR. If they are not, we encourage you to invite them to join and support our industry. Contact us for opportunities and let us know how we can help you. I can't encourage you enough to use the affiliates that are working hard for you and that are taking the time to support our association. Please contact your board to get to know who the affiliates are that are supporting your community. Thank you.
All right, brokers, we hope you've had an excellent time watching this video today. Thank you so much for your membership. If you have any questions, you can reach out to Peter or myself at any time. Thank you again, and before your next meeting, put those pants on. We'll see you. These aren't going in here, right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
We're just getting content.
Okay, content.
UCAR members and brokers, thanks for having me. This is quite the honor, quite the privilege. I'm going to start over. Okay, I'm going to start over. You can. I know. I'm excited. I know what I'm just trying to. I am going to be excited. Okay, we're going to start over. Okay. Is it still okay?
Brown dual gas tank it held like 50 gallons of gas. Yeah.
One on each side?
Yep, one on each side.
So you have to decide which.
And I could only afford to put 1 or 2 gallons into each side at the time, and yeah, so that was my first car/truck.
I was in the movie Solo.
No way.
Yes.
Like Han Solo?
No, not that Solo. We're talking a 1980s movie called Solo.
Ooh, the double butter burgers are really good. The concretes. You guys know what I'm talking about. They just melt in your mouth. But the concretes, here's what you should do. You get a chocolate ice cream with Heath and chocolate brownie. You just mix that all together. It's pure magic.
What would you call that?
The Craig special or something like that. They know what
They know.
They know. Give me the Craig special and they just mix it right up.
barbecued rat and ant egg rolls. I thought my language was pretty good, my Chinese. I had been there for almost 2 years, so this was near the end of my mission. And when they said they were making ant egg rolls, I really thought I misunderstood what they were saying. And I didn't.
I can move my ears. Did you see it?
I did. I saw it.
Yeah.
Wow.
I can move my ears, my nostrils.
That's a full-on flap.
Yeah. I could fly, probably, if I wanted to.
It's good for getting masks off.
Yeah.
You
Just
can
fling them
wiggle
off.
yourself.
Rubber band them across the room.
That should be good.
Is that a wrap?
I think
Thanks.
so. Awesome.
This is in order to, I'm going to start over again. Let's try that one again. So to help your agents and yourself protect, let's try this again. Let's try that again. Future violation, chief,
You're good.
I almost said U.S. title. So sorry. Okay. Hi, I'm Stacy Douglas, your Utah Central Association of Affiliate Realtor Chair. I don't stop. Hi, I'm Stacy Douglas. I'm chair of the Affiliate Committee for the UCAR Association. Hi, I'm Stacy Douglas, chair of UCAR Association's Affiliate Chair Committee. I'm